Why people do what you want, secretly. What if I told you people are agreeing with you more than you realize, not because you force them, not because you convince them, but because their own mind quietly pushed them there. Right now, every day, people are being guided by invisible psychological triggers. They think they are choosing freely, but often they are reacting to tone, to timing, to subtle signals they don't even notice. And here's the secret. When you understand these signals, you don't have to argue. You don't have to push. You don't have to beg. People start to move in your direction without realizing why. In this video, I'll show you how this really works. Not manipulation, not magic, but simple hidden psychology that runs daily life. Once you see it, you'll never hear conversations the same way again. Most people think influence looks loud. They imagine debates, persuasion, strong opinions, pressure. But in real life, the strongest influence is quiet. It happens in normal moments. At school, at work, with friends, online. Someone says, "I don't think this'll work." And suddenly, others try harder to prove it will. Someone says, "You probably won't want to help." And the other person feels a strange urge to help. Why? Because the human brain hates being told what it will or won't do. It wants to feel in control. It wants to protect its freedom. So when people feel their choice is being limited, they push back. Not always consciously, but emotionally, automatically. This is happening around you every day, and most people never notice it. They think people are reacting to words, but really, they're reacting to how those words make them feel about control. At the center of this is something called psychological reactance. It's a simple idea. When people feel their freedom is threatened, they want to take it back, even if it goes against logic, even if it goes against their original plan. The brain says, "Don't tell me what to do." So instead of pushing someone directly, you remove pressure. You create space. You create choice. You create the feeling of independence. And that's where reverse psychology lives. Instead of saying, "You should do this," you imply, "You probably won't." Instead of saying, "You must agree," you suggest, "It's totally your decision." This does two powerful things. First, it lowers resistance. No one feels attacked. Second, it activates identity. People want to see themselves as independent, strong, in control. So they choose in a way that proves that image, not because you forced them, but because their brain wanted to protect their sense of freedom. This is why subtle influence beats loud persuasion. You're not changing their mind. You're letting their mind change itself. Let's make this real. Imagine you want a friend to study with you. Instead of saying, "You need to study with me," you say, "It's fine if you don't want to. I can handle it alone." They feel a small push inside. They don't want to look lazy. They don't want to lose control of the choice. So they say, "No, it's okay. I'll join." Not because you forced them, but because their identity stepped in. You want someone to take responsibility. Instead of saying, "You should handle this," you say, "I was thinking of doing it myself, unless you'd rather take it." Now it feels like their choice, not an order, not pressure. Many people step in because they want to feel trusted and in control. You want someone to respond or engage. Instead of saying, "Please reply, you're probably busy anyway." Now there's no pressure, but the brain feels a tiny challenge. They don't want to seem uninterested. So they reply faster, not because you demanded it, but because their freedom and image kicked in. Here's the big idea. People don't like being pushed. They like choosing. When you remove pressure, influence becomes easier. When you give space, resistance drops. When you protect someone's sense of freedom, they often move closer to what you wanted anyway. So your takeaway is simple. Watch how you phrase things. Notice when you push and when you release. Try this. Instead of forcing agreement, create choice. Instead of pressure, create freedom. And then observe what happens. Because the most powerful influence is the one people believe was their own idea. And once you understand that, you stop chasing control. You let the mind do the work for you.